Today we're going to install the T-Bone Racing front bumper on the Redcat Racing Shredder. It comes with no instructions. There's nothing online that we have found to completely help you out. And we've also noticed that part of this inside the package is assembled wrong. So hopefully this video helps all you out. So in the package, this was the piece that we were talking about that was assembled incorrectly from T-Bone. If you go ahead and kind of mock it up, it kind of looks like this factory piece, but these holes here have to bolt to these inside. So this piece must angle down, which then puts this at the wrong angle to match up. This piece has to be taken off and flipped to the top. Since these screws have no adjustment in the holes, you can go ahead and lock these tight. Now we're going to go ahead and disassemble some of the pieces that need to come off. You do not need to remove this bottom skid plate, so these two screws stay. These two come off because we're going to utilize that for this mounting location. I like to leave the screws in place just in case you need to worry about where they came from or you reuse them later. We have also figured out how these get mounted, so there are certain things that we are not going to take apart. It will only make it quicker and easier for the install. The back screw here, we just loosen a little bit just to give us some motion. So again, we don't have to take the whole thing apart. Okay, at this point, you should be able to just slide this back a little bit, lift that down, and out comes the bumper piece. Here's the basic layout of how this goes, and now you can see it lines up. If it was the way that they assembled it, it would sit weird like this with this piece on top, so it'll never work. That'll throw a lot of people off. Also, they give you this nice hardware kit here with some shims and spacers and washers. What we went out and purchased cheaply on Amazon online is a metric screw kit that gives you all of the screws, but with 2.5 millimeter heads. And it gives you a large enough assortment for things that'll work great on the car. This head bites better, and it gives you more grip, and they don't strip out as easily. We go for some assembly. First, for this front bumper, since these holes are pretty big to fit around that notch right there, we'll go ahead and install the smallest screw with the washer. Grab our now upgraded 2.5 and run those in. Obviously, remember it's soft plastic, don't over tighten them. And also make sure that the bumper is nice and down around that little lip on the pin so it sits flush and correct. Okay, those are good. Now up in here, since you have the big space from where the bumper came out, this big piece right here, that space has to be filled in. Here, they've given us two little spacers to take up that room. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kind of slide those into place. You know what? I'll do one at a time. See how they stay. If not, we'll just move them around. Take our screw. And now as we run that in, kind of just line that up so it goes into the center there. As you can see, it's a little tricky and can get frustrating at times. Okay, we'll run that in almost all the way down, but we need room to move the other one around, so we will not tighten that just yet. And now we'll go ahead and get the next one in. As you can see, since the other one was lined in and holding it, that went in a lot smoother. Now as you're assembling it, just give it kind of a little push up with your finger to hold it. And these screws are nice and new, so they definitely grab a lot better into the plastic. Take a little more force to tighten. And how you check to make sure you got it is just give the washer a little tap. If it doesn't slide around, you know you're plenty tight. You do not, again, need to over tighten those. And then in the back, we're just gonna go ahead and now retighten that top shock mount bolt. So that's all now assembled and tight. For this, we're gonna get out our little handy dandy drill because these screws are a little longer and tougher. Now, if you have help, you can do it this way, or you have a way to work under the truck. If not, you can kind of just do it by hand. We're gonna run these out. Now, just be aware that this screws here hold in the whole differential assembly, which is pretty much what everything is bolted to. So when this comes out, the whole front end has a tendency to move around on you. If that's the case, you kind of just have to line the control arm pins back up before you reassemble. Okay, now these screws already have a 2.5 head in them, so there's no need to upgrade that. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the bumper. Obviously, you see it curves up this way. Nothing else you need to do, but put the screw through. Again, try to hold the top so it doesn't move on you. Kind of get that. If you can start it by hand, great. And then we'll run that in a little bit. As you can hear, it's very tight. Even the drill struggles a little bit. Them all in as far as I care to go with the drill so I don't strip anything. And now what I'll do is give them a good double check just by hand. As you can see, they turn a little bit. I've gotten used to knowing the torque of my drill. These screws I don't upgrade. I do have them, but since they're not something you're going to be taking on and off regularly, there's no point in changing these to the 2.5s. So the next couple of screws we have to put in, and the final screws are mating the two pieces together. These you kind of just have to give a good squeeze to get the hole to line up. Once it's through, it'll hold. And then go ahead and thread on the nuts. And then get your handy dandy box right through here. As you'll see, it'll adjust the plastic a little bit as it bends and tensions up, because T-Bone, while they make an excellent product, sometimes the fitment is just a little off, but it's no big deal. It actually kind of preloads the plastics and gives you a little bit of a stronger connection. So we'll go ahead and give that a really good snug. And I always hold the head and turn the nuts so you don't strip it out. Put the body on just so you can get a look, see how it looks with the body. Gives you nice clearance. Definitely will protect the body in some crashes here. Tires are big enough, the control arms, they'll take a good shot. And there you go. We hope this video helps you out, saves you some time and headache installing the T-Bone Racing bumper on your Redcat Shredder.